Hi everyone, welcome back to my Tarantino series. It's late in the evening on Christmas Eve, around 9:30 p.m. Chicago time. Just replying to a couple comments left on Pulp Fiction, the video I did on Pulp Fiction. Gotten a lot of good comments from a lot of good people. Thanks very much for that. Appreciate y'all watching. If you value my opinion, I appreciate that too. So I just got finished rewatching Inglourious Basterds. Which I had seen in the theater one time, and a few more times on cable. I had a Showtime package for a while, and they played it at least once a week, it seems. So I got the chance to see it a number of times, but I decided to rescreen it again, because although my feelings on the movie are ambivalent, with each time I watch a movie, I understand a little bit better, so maybe I thought I'd understand a little more and maybe like it a little more. And I am used to it, but I can't say that I like it any more than I have. I might dislike it less, but like I said, it's only because I've gotten used to it. So Inglourious Basterds is a movie set in Europe, France in particular, during the Second World War. It starts off in 1941, and you have basically a Jewish family that's hiding in France, hiding on the homestead of one of their neighboring dairy farms. A Gentile family is keeping them, hidden away from the Nazis. In the opening scene, the homeowner receives a visit from Colonel Hans Landa of the SS, Nazi officer who has been assigned to find all those unaccounted for Jewish families in the French countryside and, deal with them, take care of them. Landa is, of course, played by Christoph Waltz, who is the first actor to win an Oscar for his performance in a Quentin Tarantino movie. Previously, of course, John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, and Uma Thurman were all nominated for Pulp Fiction, but none of them won. So Christoph Waltz is the first guy to get it. And I gotta say, it was really funny because Tarantino was talking about how if he couldn't find an actor to play this part, he wouldn't have even made the movie. It's a good thing, too, because, the guy... What can I say about Christoph Waltz? I mean, he's unbelievably great in this. And I was a little worried that he would turn into sort of a conventional movie villain after that, because the next film I saw him in was The Green Hornet. And I didn't, like that movie very much, and there was nothing really that special about his character. Also, I don't know what it is about, maybe it's the other actors that Christoph Waltz was appearing alongside, but that guy looks really small. He's a tiny guy, he's pretty short. But Water for Elephants, he was married to Reese Witherspoon, and he tended to be taller than her. She's only 5'2", so but yeah, that was a more decent movie. And of course now we have him in Django Unchained. He's partnered with Jamie Foxx. He's also doing a voice in the animated film Epic. I didn't know he was in it, but I heard his voice in the character. I'm like, oh, I know exactly who that is. He speaks English, French, German, and Italian in this movie. So yeah, he's a real master of all trades here. So, like I said, 1941 is when it starts, and after he takes out basically this family, but misses the elder daughter, who then runs off. Her name is Shosanna, and she's played by Melanie Laurent, who went on to co-star with Ewan McGregor in Beginners. I like both of them quite a bit, and there's a really good scene midway through the movie in which she finds herself sitting across from Landa at a French restaurant, and he doesn't know who she is. He's just asking her a few questions about this movie theater that she owns in Paris, that they're considering hosting the premiere for a new German film there. And just to see her reaction there, trying to maintain her composure, because this is the man that wiped out her whole family. Really good scene. Really good scene. Also, you've got Joseph Goebbels, who is Hitler's second in command. Of course, you've got Hitler as well and some of the Nazi officers. You've got a character who is a star sniper of the German army. What's his name? Come on, everyone was saying his name throughout the entire movie. I was having this problem with Grindhouse. I couldn't remember the name of an actress. Now I just have to remember the name of a character. Zoller. Frederick Zoller, that's right, yeah. It's a famous German sniper, took out like over 100 guys over the course of 3 days by being up in a bell tower and shooting in all directions. So a film was made about him. And he starred as himself in the movie, and this is what they're premiering in this French cinema. So the reason why they're premiering it here at this cinema is because, of course, Frederick Zoller has met the young Shosanna, now going under the name Emmanuel, and is smitten by her and, likes her, and, wants to get closer to her. So he has sort of convinced Goebbels to switch the premiere from a larger theater to the small one. Well, this plays into the hands of the intelligence operatives working for the Allies that are looking for a way, to, of course, to take out the Nazis permanently. And when they get their intelligence reports from an undercover German agent, a German agent who's working for the British government, that the premier is going to have all these high command Nazi officers in one small location, and like, oh, well, we have to just blow up this theater and take them all out. We can end the war right then, if we take out all those Nazi officers, I mean, the German, the Nazis and the German army will be paralyzed without them. And this is where the Bastards come into play. Now, one of the reasons why I'm not crazy about this movie is that this movie is called Inglourious Basterds, and yet the bastards themselves don't play as big a role as they ought to. In a lot of Tarantino's movies, the stories will be divided amongst a large group of characters, but there doesn't, I'd say probably the hero of the movie is probably Shosanna, because she's the one, not only are the bastards working to take out all these Nazis, but she has decided that since the Nazis are going to have the premiere of their film at her theater, that she is going to burn down the theater with all of them inside. And so she's working with her projectionist to figure out a way to do that. The bastards are Americans. They're Jewish American soldiers, they're a squad led by Brad Pitt, who plays Aldo Rain, and they are just running around all over Paris and Europe at large, I guess, killing as many Nazis as they get their hands on. They've become infamous. A lot of this is basically just conveyed through dialogue. There's a couple of scenes of them shooting and killing Nazis and scalping them, but yeah, you don't see a whole lot of that. Most of it's conveyed secondhand. Michael Fassbender is also in this movie. He plays the guy who is supposed to be leading what they call Operation Kino, which is the British intelligence's effort to burn down the movie theater. So he's a British officer, but he's masquerading as a German, and he needs to rendezvous with a German film star played by Diane Kruger from Troy, who is working basically secretly for the British government to undermine the Germans and the Nazis. So things, there's a lot of sort of tangled intentions here with the characters, but it all comes down to this premiere at the end. Things don't go according to plan. People get killed too early, and so you've got Brad Pitt and some of his other guys trying to fill in at the last second to take out the Nazis at the movie theater. And of course you've got Landa in the mix as well. He shows up as the head of security for the premiere, so they've got to deal with him. And he's trouble, in and of himself. So this, here's the unusual thing. This movie is divided into 5 chapters, just like Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2. And here's the funny thing, it was released on the same day as a Robert Rodriguez family comedy called Shorts, which is also told in 5 chapters. It's very good. I haven't seen that movie actually since it was in the theater, so I should check that out again sometime. But like I said, the Bastards really aren't in it all that much. And although Brad Pitt is basically the star of the movie, at least the American star, if you think about how the movie was marketed in other countries, they probably listed somebody else's name over the title. Well, probably not. I mean, Brad Pitt is a big star anywhere. But while I like most of the actors quite a lot in this movie, I'm not really all that crazy about him. He seems a little broad. He's got this Appalachian accent, and he's pretty comical in just, his delivery and everything like that. One guy in particular I'd like to mention, aside from the ones I've already talked about, is a guy named August Diehl. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, D-I-E-H-L. And he's German, I believe. maybe Italian, I'm not sure. I'm not good with nationalities as far as last names go. He plays a Nazi officer who Michael Fassbender and Diane Kruger and some of the other people working for Brad Pitt in a basement bar. There's this really long scene in which Diane Kruger is trying to, just basically rendezvous with her British counterpart, and then they can go off somewhere else to plan for the premiere, but they're stuck in this bar because there's another group of German soldiers that keep wanting to talk to him, keep wanting to have a drink with him, and when they get into an argument, suddenly this Nazi officer who's been off in the corner hidden away, he pops up and he starts talking to them as well. So then they have to stick around, they have to have a conversation with this guy, and they have to maintain their cover, or else the whole deal will be shot. Well, things go badly from there, and yeah, but the scene takes a really long time, and there's something that I noticed also about this movie is that there are certain scenes that just seem to take a lot longer than they have to. There's a whole scene where Landa is talking with Brad Pitt. He's captured Brad Pitt and another one of the bastards, and he's talking with him. That scene goes on a really long time. The opening scene in which he's interrogating the French homeowner, that takes a really long time as well. But I didn't mind so much with that first scene, but this movie is just really long, and everything just goes on and on until there's like just a quick burst of action. And then there's the plan for the bastards have for burning down the theater. They've actually strapped dynamite to their legs, and are actually planning on blowing themselves up along with the whole theater while they, shoot everybody. And I'm just thinking to myself, these guys are American soldiers. They're not the type to, be suicide bombers. They could plant dynamite, there and set the timers and then escape so that everything blows up. But why would they just stand around or sit around, as the case may be, and then, get blown up along with everybody else? That never really made a lot of sense to me. Also, of course, the character of Shosanna since her family was taken out by Landa at the beginning of the movie, you'd think that she would, have the opportunity to kind of get back at him, but she doesn't. She has the opportunity to take out other Germans, of course, and Nazis. But Land is sort of left of Brad Pitt at the end. So there's sort of all these sort of switching of confrontations that goes on, and it doesn't really play out the way you expect it to. And I know Tarantino likes to subvert expectations like that, but it kind of sort of left me, unsatisfied on the whole. Can't really fault any one particular actor or the film technically. Again, Robert Richardson was the director of photography, just like he was in the two Kill Bill movies. He's also the director of photography on Django Unchained, so that's exciting. Yeah, again, I'm really just sort of ambivalent about this movie. I've never really cared about it that much. The standouts really are Melanie Laurent as Shosanna, and Christoph Waltz as Landa. Those are, the top guys in the movie. But there's plenty of good actors who just come in for bit parts here and there. Yeah, man, this movie got lots of acclaim. So many people like it. It just never worked for me the way that other films do. Just sort of vaguely unsatisfying. Kind of hard to put into words exactly. Except, I just spent a whole bunch of time talking about it, so maybe I articulated a few of my problems with it. But there are good things. There are good scenes about them. Here's one more problem that I have with this movie. And I've sort of developed this issue with fictional presidents over the last few years. This started around the time that they had a special 9/11 episode on The West Wing. The West Wing is a television show about a fictional U.S. president named Bartlett, who's played by Martin Sheen. And I don't know what I would have done if I were working on the show, if I were running the show or in charge of making decisions about it. But it just seems like it would be impossible to continue to make a show about a fictional president during a time when 9/11 has happened. Like trying to make a movie about the Vietnam War when some fictional president, instead of LBJ or Nixon, is president. Or making a World War II movie where FDR is not president. Having a completely made-up president when 9/11 happens instead of George W. Bush just seems incorrect. And Tarantino, of course, changes history with this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to tell you how, but he basically rewrites what happens, with some very, very, well-known individuals that participated in World War II. Most of you already know what happens, but I'm not going to spell it out exactly. But, I just sort of have the fundamental problem with that happening. Maybe it is more fun this way, as far as the movie goes. Yeah, I don't know. As far as I know, there's no fictional president in Django Unchained, so I probably won't have an issue with that. But with this movie, it's different. Just for the sake of having a rah ending. I don't know, just never really sat right with me. Plus, I understand that the actors in the scene really had a tough time dealing with that burning theater. I mean, they were indoors while that thing was burning up. But that's a completely different issue. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Inglourious Basterds, scattered though they may be. Sorry this video is going up kind of late in the day. I'm sure most of you won't get around to seeing it till after Christmas, but that might be a good thing because that means you'll be getting to my Django Unchained review that much sooner. I'll be seeing it the day after Christmas on Wednesday, and I will have my video up no later than Thursday, so I hope you'll tune in for that. Please feel free to share your own thoughts on Inglourious Basterds. If you liked it, or if you didn't like it, I'd love to, sort of commiserate about that because I sort of feel isolated. One of those guys that didn't like a movie that everyone else likes. It's just, it doesn't feel great. And it's got so much acclaim too. Another Best Picture, Best Director nomination for Tarantino and everything like that. Yeah, no. Anyway, putting together a whole playlist of Tarantino videos. So I'll add yours if you, attach your videos to mine. That would be great. Thanks again for watching. If it isn't yet Christmas, have a merry one. If it's already Christmas, I hope you had a merry one. And I'll see you again real soon. Later.